Tonight on the Fanatic Forum, I've got some new books to show off to you, plus a big crossover this week. But is that my pick of the week? Well, you're just going to have to find out right after this. Hey everybody, happy Friday and welcome to the Fanatic Forum. I'm your Fanatic and host, George Buehler. You guys will have to excuse me this week. I'm getting over a cold and a simultaneous eye infection, so yay. But yeah, whatever. That's the way things go this year, but the three things I do not like about this particular season: A, illness; B, the weather; and hot take, I'm not a big Christmas fan, so not necessarily that I, wish anybody bah humbug or anything like that, but if you're up to me, I'd just do something else on December 25th. So there you go. We're starting off on controversy tonight. Anywho, hope you guys are having a good week here. You guys are all healthy out there, hopefully. Not so, but I drank some hot tea right before here, so hopefully my voice holds up. But this may be a little bit shorter show tonight, but that's okay. Anywho, so got some new books want to show off this week here. Of course, a lot of cool stuff came out. One very big particular crossover came out that I'm just going to get right to here because this is the big book of the week here. Straight out of the 90s, folks, Batman and Spawn have made a comeback. Let me get a nice reflection. There we go. This is the cover A. Greg Capullo did the art for this one, and he does the art for the majority of the for the comic. Oops, sorry. Tom McFarlane writes it. So, it's a really cool story. It leans a lot heavier on Batman fans. The villain is kind of a different version of the Court of Owls. So they've kind of throughout the DC multiverse, there must be different versions of the court. So this is kind of not our Earth Zero version of the court, but a similar style. But yes, it's kind of neat, very, a little mystical sort of book here. But yeah, a lot of fun though. Kind of feels like there might be a second issue. I don't know just yet. So, but they kind of give us the impression that there might be more. So we'll see. Very cool thing though is that there are I think about 15 or 16 different variant covers for this. Of course, there's the main 10 that they have for this. And then there's some special different covers. There's a really cool acetate cover. There's this particular glow in the dark. You can kind of see it's textured there. This is the glow in the dark Greg Capullo. And McFarlane also had a little bit of say on this one too. But yeah, love this cover here. There's a black and white cover. There's lots of different black and white covers. But basically, it's a variant comic fan's dream because there's so many covers for this. Then, of course, there's the special variants, your 1 in 50s, your 1 in 25s, 1 in 100s, 1 in 250s. Soon to come, the 1 in 666, and also the 1 in 1000. So those are coming next month. But yeah, lots of books to pick up. Check with your local comic shop to see what kind of deals they have on maybe different packages for all these variant covers because there are quite a lot of them. Collaborating Comics, we have special deals where, especially if you get the higher priced variants, like the 1 in 250s, whatever else, you basically, once you get the 1 in 250, you get all the other covers with it too, because you're paying about $250 for it. But nonetheless, it's a nice deal for a whole bunch of comics here. So yeah, some very cool art. Let's see here. DC also has another couple of good pairs. I want to show those off here. Our last tie-in here for Dark Crisis, this one's called Big Bang. This is definitely a nice must-have for fans of The Flash. A nice love letter to the multiverse. You kind of visit many, many different facets of the multiverse in this one here. So, yeah, very cool. Mark Waid does the writing on this one here. And Dan Jurgens does a little bit on here as well. So, Let's see. Oh, actually, Dan Jurgens does the art with Norm Repman on there. So yeah, but yeah, very cool tie-in here. Like I said, this is the last tie-in. Next week, issue 7 comes out, the finale for Dark Crisis, and then after that, there's the Dawn of the DC Universe one-shot, which kind of again, yes, folks, we're resetting again. There's a lot. I don't think they're making too terribly many changes to the DC Universe, aside from the fact that there's going to be some creative teams shuffling around. So. Yeah, so I think most of the Batman books are safe, but there's going to be, I know the Superman books are going to have some shuffling around there and stuff like that. So, hey, Johnny's on here. Good to see you, sir. Welcome. Let's see here. Another really cool book for DC this week. This is from the Black Label imprint here. Basically, this is the exact same team that did Rorschach here. So we got Tom King, Jorge Fornes, and Dave Stewart doing the coloring on here. But this is Danger Street, Once Upon a Time in a Far Off Kingdom. This is a cool book. This reminds me a lot of when Brian Michael Bendis would work for Marvel in kind of the the early to mid 2000s when he was doing all of his Avengers stuff, and basically his, really his heyday in the Marvel universe, and bringing back a lot of like obscure characters and putting them in the forefront, or just playing around with some of that stuff. Tom King does the same thing. I mean, he made Kite Man relevant in his Batman run. So if you want obscure Batman villains, Kite Man's about as obscure as you can go. But Danger Street's fun because basically you are featuring a lot of characters who basically have been kind of cast off from the DC universe, really not used very much. Or if you go back to the 1975 first issue special, which basically that was a whole series where every issue was a #1 introducing a new character, team, whatever the case may have been. So in the first issue of that, they introduce you to the Dingbats from Danger Street, a group of kids that kind of ragtag band of misfits. They kind of get into adventures and stuff like that. Well, they get embroiled with some adventures that involve Metamorpho, Warlord, Starman, Dr. Fate's in there somehow, and a few other obscure folks. Don't want to bring up everybody just yet, but they all tie in together in a very interesting way. And I got to tell you, it's an original book here, just throwing all these, kind of forgotten heroes and characters, or just rarely used ones in here, and just making an interesting story here. So, but basically the story is that Warlord and his cohorts are trying to enter the Justice League, and by doing so, they want to basically pull off a big stunt that says, "Hey, we've got the chutzpah to be in the Justice League," and it kind of goes terribly wrong, and it starts involving all these other characters that aren't necessarily interconnected, but by the end of the first issue, they are. So I'm very interested to see where this story goes here. Really enjoyed this one. That's my #2 pick of the week. So we'll keep going here. I got a couple other things to show off here. Only for Marvel, because we had a very light week for Marvel. Marvel's had a lot of big weeks recently, so they had a light couple of weeks coming up here. But this is the new Invincible Iron Man #1. Christopher Cantwell's run has ended, so he's off the book now. And then this is kind of Jerry Duggan's basically kind of kicking off of what Christopher Cantwell had laid down in the his last run, where basically Tony is kind of low tech. He's gotten rid of a lot of his money in some very interesting ways, not frivolous ways, but more, I don't know, philanthropic sort of ways here, and also a bit of kind of getting some security, for the world at large here, because too much of his stuff was out in the open market. So most of his vast fortune is now gone. So Tony's kind of living, life kind of low key wherever else. Well, for some reason, someone has it out for Tony, and it's apparently somebody new and potentially could be smarter than both he and Riri Williams, who, of course, Riri is in this book here, which is great to get her back in the Iron Man book proper. Because I really like the playoff between the two characters anyway. So so a very interesting kind of mystery here. Someone's trying to kill Tony, all the same time he's trying to do his own autobiography. So we get the autobiography of Tony Stark, part 1. So I wasn't really thinking I was going to get into this new Iron Man book because I was so attracted to the Christopher Cantwell run, but it's kind of kicking off this one, so we'll see here. We'll see. Let's see here. Johnny's asking, saying, "Do you think he's picking up Danger Street?" Yeah, it's a cool book. I think you would like it, Johnny. Did he end up marrying Hellcat? No. He did propose, but Patsy politely turned him down. He was kind of still very, during the Christopher Cantwell run, Tony got horribly injured. And so basically he was kind of in his Iron Man suit with his neck fused in to kind of keep his neck from being broken. And he was on painkillers to kind of help out. And unfortunately, he got a heroin addiction for a short period of time. And so he was trying to kick heroin, still not, still worrying about being an alcoholic as well. So he had a lot of issues going on. Of course, this is, fresh off the 2020 storyline where basically kind of the tech kind of fought against Tony. So he's been through the ringer his past few runs of his book. So this one kind of looks to be the same. But no, unfortunately, they did not marry. They're on good terms. They're friends. They're very close. But yeah, Patsy's like, I don't know. I kind of want to do my own thing here. Of course, in that run too, some of Patsy's demonic past came back to haunt her a bit. So we may see some of that pop up later on. I don't know in her own book or someone else's, but there's a little bit more to Patsy's story going on here. Let's see. Dave Mallehead, good to see you, sir. Heard an interesting theory that Riri is a Kang variant. Where'd you hear that one? I'm intrigued by that one. It, in a way, can make sense. Especially if it's not, from this, potential universe, but, she's a builder. She's, I don't know. Okay. That's an interesting theory. Yes, Hellcat's getting all helly again. Yes, she is. All right. A couple of indies got to show off here. First, I didn't think much this was going to be anything because I don't know about you, but I'm kind of fatigued with vampire books right now. There's a lot on the market, and while there are some standouts, they're all kind of running in together. But I went ahead and read this one and enjoyed it, and I'm going to pick up the second issue. We got Mark Millar and Juan Ramirez doing Night Club here. And this is definitely a cool take on vampires stuff here. Basically, you got our three characters here who are kind of, our lead guy's a bit of a danger seeker. He wants to be a YouTube celebrity, stuff like that, doing stupid stunts. He gets injured, and to the point where maybe he may not make it, and has a strange visitor who basically gives him the old forever kiss, and he's a vampire now. But this guy has an agenda. Basically, we can go out there and do good things, stop bad people, all that sort of stuff like that with our new powers. We just need the right people to do it. So seems like somebody's building up a network here, but I'm intrigued by this. Like I said, I'm going to pick up the second issue. We'll see how this goes here, but I like the first issue. It's a pretty good story. And of course, you got to love that price point there. $1.99, folks. And when was the last time you saw a $1.99 comic book that wasn't a children's book? So that's pretty cool right there. So, but the one thing I'm actually really excited about, if you turn to the back here, yes, Nemesis Reloaded coming January 2023. Finally, we get our sequel to one of my all-time favorite Mark Millar books. If you have not read Nemesis, it is fantastic. Basically, it is a mix of kind of like evil Batman meets the David Fincher film The Game, where you've got like rich people playing a particular game, doing things they couldn't normally get away with in real life. But in this case here, this guy fancies himself as a bit of a rogue vigilante, but he wears the all-white suit, double gun thing, very violent sort of thing like that. In the original series, there is a cop who's on the verge of retirement, who's basically been trying to get this guy for years and kind of thinks maybe he's, maybe going to get him before he, retires. And so it's kind of like their last go at it. And it's Nemesis has been out for quite a long time, and unfortunately, with the way Millar does his productions, is that at one point he did this deal where he would do a book or a graphic novel or a series or whatever else, and then it would immediately get a movie or TV deal. And until that product was made, into a movie or TV, he couldn't do any sequels to it. So that's why for a while we were getting so many kick-ass sequels in the comics, because they kept making the movies. But unfortunately, Nemesis got a movie deal as soon as it came out, but they didn't make a movie. It kept falling through for whatever reason. Nobody, whatever else is having problems. Apparently, there is going to be a series coming out, probably through Netflix, because he's got a deal with them. Don't know when, but it's talked about. It's in the works. I think it'd be a killer series to do. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm very excited about finally getting a sequel to this. So yes, we will see here. Tommy, good to see you, sir. Boom. Yes. Let's get to my pick of the week here. Good segue, Tommy. Thank you, sir. Boom Studios brings us A Vicious Circle. Mattson Tomlin is the writer. Lee Bermejo, just one of the most fantastic artists on the market right now, is the artist on here, does the cover, does everything. This book is awesome. Of course, it's a prestige format here. Boom's not really done those before, as far as I know. DC's kind of had the market on those and some indies, but Boom decided they're going to do a prestige format here. But gorgeous, gorgeous artwork here from Lee. You get some color, and you also get some black and white stuff too. Yeah, this is gorgeous, gorgeous stuff here. The story behind this one is basically you've got two men who are essentially like corporate assassins that are on either side of a certain type of mission. Basically, one of them wants to save us, one of them wants to destroy everything, that sort of thing like that. But they are time traveling to try to get to this certain point to affect the course of human history, sort of thing like that. But they are also tethered together. So it's kind of like a quantum leap sort of thing, where their jumps are sort of random. They're not exactly where they're supposed to go. Sometimes they are right on top of each other when they appear into a new timeline. Sometimes they have to go looking for each other. But there's always that eternal question they've been asking for quite a long time, because apparently they've been at this sort of mission for a while, is what happens when one of them dies? So, but yeah, very interesting stuff here. Like I said, love the artwork here. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. So Tommy said, yeah, that's good stuff. Yes. Yeah. He agrees. Yeah. So yeah, Tommy's been recommending that book over at Climber Comics. Yeah, I had to agree. That's, Vicious Circle, definitely my pick of the week. That is a fantastic book. Cannot recommend it enough. So it is a 3-issue series. So I'm definitely going to be picking up those issues there. Let's see. Travis World, good to see you. Only one here, by the way. I don't know what that means. Hey, lots of stirring up in the DC universe here. It was interesting. I just saw a meme right before the show. It was kind of a picture of everybody in the Justice League, and everybody was all grayed out except for Jason Momoa, and there was kind of a whole boo-hoo, sort of thing like that. It was kind of struck me funny because it was wildly inaccurate. Like, okay, yeah, we know Henry is not going to be Superman for the next project we see coming out, because James Gunn wants to do a kind of a young Superman, formative years, whatever they want to do there. It's not clear what they want to do, but they said they do want to go back and do a younger Superman. That's not to say that Henry could come back at a later date, so we will see about that one. Wonder Woman. Okay, Patty Jenkins is off the project for Wonder Woman 3. The plans have been scrapped. Gall, on the other hand, she's still Wonder Woman. She's not left the project just yet. So there you go. Dave saying they hope they keep her. As far as I know, she's still Wonder Woman. Nothing's changed there. Ben Affleck, who was also grayed out in the picture, he's still Batman. He's going to be Batman for The Flash coming up next year, and also Aquaman 2 coming up next year. So there's that. Ezra Miller, the Flash movie's still coming out despite everything he's done recently, his crimes, his issues, whatever else. That movie's still coming out. He's still the Flash. So the only accuracy in there is, Henry's not Superman anymore, and Ray Fisher's not Cyborg. And frankly, Jason Momoa sounds like he's going to be doing double duty as Aquaman and Lobo. So I don't know. Tommy actually brings up a good point here. Henry's going to Warhammer 40K, which is, they're going to do a Warhammer adaptation for Amazon Prime, and Henry's going to be the lead for that one, which is, I'm sure he's extremely excited about, because if you know anything about Henry, He's a super nerd, just like a lot of us, which, welcome, sir. But he is a tremendous Warhammer fan. Like, he's grown up with that stuff for years. Just like he was very protective of the Witcher series, which is why he's not on the show anymore. He left because apparently they were going in a direction that is different from the books, wildly inaccurate, whatever the case may have been. He wasn't a fan of it, so that's why he's leaving. He left the show. So the whole intersection of him leaving The Witcher, the Superman one shot, and then him being off there, literally a matter of coincidence. So he was going to do Superman, but, like I said, he may come back later on, if they're going to do a Black Adam 2 or, follow up with that stare down between, the two of them and a Black Adam. So we'll see. But yeah, so, don't worry just yet, folks. There are going to be a lot of changes coming up. James Gunn apparently has a bit of a kind of a master plan that he is going to release to the fans and, in mass. I think it's going to be after the holidays, maybe around first of the year is what he said. So we do have that coming up here. We might get a little bit more of a, thing what's going on there. So we'll see. Of course, the Matt Reeves Batman films, those are still going to happen. Everything's on board for that. I don't know if they're shooting Batman 2 just yet, but everything's on board for those movies. We're still going there. Let's see, the upcoming Joker sequel, that's still happening. So, yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of changes, but there are still a lot of things who, of course, we know what Shazam's coming out later on, I think this year. Yeah, there's another Shazam film coming out. Then we got Aquaman next year, Flash next year. So, yeah, we'll see here. Dave says he's got a lot of faith in James Gunn. I do too. Frankly, some of the best things to come out of the recent DC universe were James Gunn projects, Suicide Squad and then Peacemaker. In both of those projects, he started world building, just name checking people. Name check Green Arrow, name check Batmite. We saw Starro the Conqueror. When did you ever think you would see a movie with Starro the Conqueror as a bad guy? Of course, having all the other characters we had in the Suicide Squad, but still, nonetheless, never thought in a million years we'd ever see that. And they didn't do it it was a little amusing, as James stuff is, but it was still a fairly serious villain. So, and you saw how powerful he is. So, yeah. So, I'm with you, Dave. I've got tremendous faith in James. So, yeah, we will. I'm very anxious to see. Good Lord. Cat's doing crazy things over here. I'm very anxious and excited to see what James has got coming up here. You never know. They may be moving towards a larger world-building adaptation of some big storyline. Granted, Crisis on Infinite Earths was done for the CW verse. They may try to do a cinematic version of it. He may be trying to, move towards kind of wrapping up the Snyderverse stuff. We may get a final battle between, the Justice League and Darkseid. So, there's all sorts of possibilities. We could be having entirely new territory. Flashpoint could be doing something, much bigger than we actually know about. So, let's see. Wasn't surprised by Star Wars. Was Arms Fall Off Boy? Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Arms Fall Off Boy was definitely definitely a ringer there. The Lancer, Flulaborg as Lancer. Yeah, that was for the Lancer. I think it's Lancer. Yeah. Anyway, that was great stuff. Anywho, so my voice is starting to give out here a little bit, so I think I'm going to turn in a little early here. I didn't have too much planned because I was going to see exactly how I was holding up for the show here. So. Don't look too terribly bad. Don't sound too terribly bad, I guess. A little more bass in the voice here, but yeah. Anywho, next week, I will be doing a show, but I won't be here in the confines of the Sanctum Sanctorium here. I'll be on the road visiting some family members, so we'll hopefully be able to get a show up there. They have Wi-Fi there, so should be able to do something. So, I'll definitely have some books to show off there. Of course, we'll see what kind of news is going to be popping up here. Lots of rumblings, of course, in the wrestling world as Mandy Rose has got her walking papers. But a lot of fans are crying foul about it, crying a little bit of a double standard sort of thing. Apparently, Miss Mandy has a fan page. I think it's called like Fan Nation or something like that. Kind of similar to like an OnlyFans sort of thing like that. But apparently some of the photos and things there are a bit of a risque nature that the company is not comfortable with. But again, fans are crying foul because, granted, this was about 20 years ago, but there was a standard for a while where a lot of their very popular female wrestlers also appeared in Playboy magazine. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how long the firing will last. But of course, if you watch NXT this past week, Mandy lost her title that she'd held for a long period of time, and then literally the next day she got fired. So a lot of fans are crying about that one. There, we'll see what happens about that. Of course, the Vice documentary, "The 9 Lives of Vince McMahon," came out. I don't have Vice, so I'm really hoping it pops up on YouTube or I can pay for it to watch. I don't know. I want to see this documentary. I'm very interested to see this because Vince really hasn't had a doc about him that's a bit of a tell-all, and he's got some skeletons in the closet for sure. Of course, we've seen him pop up in the news with a few more allegations brought against him. One that's an old allegation being brought back, and then one that's a bit of a newer one come back again. So, he's still having a lot of problems, and of course, he had the audacity to think that he was going to try to get back in the company. It's like, no, buddy. Great. You may have been the founder. You may have started things here, but I don't think anybody wants you back right now. They're kind of fine without you. So we will see how that all works out. But yeah, so lots of news stirring around here. So I'm curious to see how things work out in the James Gunn DC universe and also over WWE. So lots of waiting and seeing, I guess. But anywho. Hope you all have yourselves a good week. Be in good health out there. And you all have yourselves a wonderful day. And I will see you all next time on the Fanatic Forum. Bye.